Any costs to vlogging? You need a camera, you need a decent microphone. You don't need a gimbal, but it does make a difference. What happens is as you shoot, you obviously have to store all this footage. Let's try and move that down a bit. You start shooting in 4K because it just looks wonderful. Everything's nice and sharp and it looks good. Requirements you need for storing 4K footage end up becoming larger and larger, not just for your backup, but your day-to-day usage. You want to record footage, you want to move it around into clips, into different projects maybe. Normal hard drive is going to work for you, but how do you back that up? What happens if your main drive fails on you? And this is something I've been becoming more and more concerned about. I am now getting towards a terabyte worth of data, and I've only been doing this for about 5 months. So what do? Do I back up my data? Great. Then I've got 2 drives, 1 drive dies, I've got to buy another drive. I have a small, sneaky little solution. You can shoot a 4K footage on your iPhone, but you have to store that footage, which means 1, you need to store the footage. Now you're going to go through a lot of this very, very quickly. I think it's 350 megabytes per minute of footage. So 10 minutes of footage, like this vlog entry, that's 350 gig. In case you haven't figured out, I'm outside Eto. See, Eto. Do I have my new microphone back up and working again? Turns out I needed a special cable for it to work. I have to actually have a bag of coins balancing out in the Osmo because DJI didn't think this through very well. That doesn't take into consideration all the outtakes, all the extra footage, the mistakes, the bloopers, etc. Now you're doing that every single day. This starts racking up. So you need a hard drive to store that footage to work off. You need a second hard drive to back that up with. Now what happens when your main drive dies? You've only got 1, so now you've got to go buy out a second hard drive again and replace it. Video workshop areas, they have these things called raids. Now a raid's expensive. A raid can cost you anything from about $600–700 up to $10,000. This solution allows you to use any old hard drives you may have lying around or you can get your hands on. As long as the hard drive is in good condition, this will work very well. And I'm using a company called SoftRaid. Over the years, you have probably had several hard drives from different computers. You've bought external hard drives. You pull out the hard drive for safekeeping, back it up, move it around. You start ending up realizing you've got like a terabyte here, 500 gig here. If you're in any creative industry such as filmmaking or design, here's a great way to upcycle all this. It's pretty well known, but I want to give you a review on it so you can see how to do it and if it's right for you and make your own mind up. I found these hard drive cases online. I actually got them cheap. I actually got them really cheap. I think they're about $1.75 each. And it's literally just the casing. And it comes with a USB 3 to SATA connection. And then all I need to do is just plug these 2 in together. So, that's it. And then add the case on, clickety-click, done. My little Blue Peter moment here. Here's actually one that I've made earlier. What I've just done is added some hockey or fabric tape and just numbered the drive physically so I know which drive is which. Probably next is a USB hub, something like this. This takes 10 USB devices. I got this from Amazon and it can daisy chain 127 times. So some options here for scaling. It does also take a 5-volt power supply. That'll help then power these devices so it's not all going through the USB channel. Once you've done that, you plug all this back together again. So we can see now that I have 2 hard drives. Now Mac OS X and I believe Windows does have a similar functionality, but it allows you to create a RAID. And within Mac OS X Sierra, all you need to do is do File, RAID Assistant, and it'll come up and ask you what you want. RAID. And within Mac OS X Sierra, all you need to do is do File, RAID Assistant, and it'll come up and ask you what you want. This too, I would not recommend that you do just a bunch of disks. I would recommend that you did I recommend that you use a RAID 5. Now I'd like to show you SoftRaid. did a lot of investigation, looking for a company, looking at hardware raids as well, and they are expensive. They're good at what they do, but this is a much more affordable option. I would not class this as budget because you still have to pay for the hard drives. What this is allowing for is a little bit maybe more flexibility, especially if you're a startup graphic designer or movie maker. This is a great option for you. So I'm going to launch SoftRaid. We'll ignore that. I have 10 hours left. Wow. I'm just initializing some drives now, as I've shown you before. And you'll see it becomes a SoftRaid disk, which allows then the SoftRaid application to work and create volumes and monitor it, which is really important. Why would you want to gamble your storage? Now, SoftRaid has been around since 1996, and this isn't just some 2-bit hack company who have developed some software on a need. They actually wrote the original Apple RAID software nearly 20 years ago. So these guys know their technology, they know the software, and probably, let's be honest, they are the market leaders, I think, within software RAID. This is not a paid endorsement, just to let you know. This is me using this. You can see I've been using it for 30 days in the evaluation period. I was looking to upcycle news, and I came across SoftRaid that seemed to fit the solution best, so I thought I'd try it out. I was so impressed with the solution that I've been able to come up with that I wanted to share this with you guys. So once you've initialized the drives that you want, it's very simple. All you need to do is go to Volume, click New, give your volume a new name, so I'm going to call this Year 1. Now at the top here I get many different types of options, much more than I can with the standard Mac OS X disk utility. Now I honestly think RAID 5 is the best for video work, and this is striped, so it's going to spread the data across several of the drives, but it's going to have parity as well. I choose my file system. I can have journaling enabled, which allows for things like Spotlight to be able to index and find these files quickly. And I can optimize it. So I'm going to optimize this for digital video. Now the volume safeguard means that once you've created the RAID, you can't actually go and delete the disk. It protects it. It's a fantastic feature. But for a RAID 5, you need a few disks. So here are my disks below that I can choose. And you'll see with 4 disks, I'm going to get 1.5 terabytes out of all of this. This is fantastic. And when I press create, it's going to now create everything for me. You'll see it says no errors. It's now monitoring this, the drives and the disks for me, as well as the actual RAID. And that's what's important on blue circle. This is the actual SoftRaid monitor. So this is checking to make sure that the drives physically are there, that they're available, and it's also checking the RAID for you as well. Having a hardware RAID over a software RAID, most people go with hardware RAIDs because they're faster. Actually, software RAID have developed their software to be equal, if not even equally, and if not faster than a hardware. So SoftRaid only costs you $180. So if you're upcycling old drives, you could save yourself thousands of dollars on this. You can now see that I have a 1.5 terabyte drive. That means 500 gig of this is being used to help look after the RAID itself as well. So I am not a hardware kind of guy. I kind of looked online on how this could work. I've known beforehand that this kind of solution existed, but SoftRaid really allowed me to be able to create a RAID that is of value that I can use all the time. So I have some footage here that I am going to upload into my RAID now. Here is a previous vlog entry. I just drag and drop it like I normally would do. There's nothing different. I'm not having to work out which disk has got the most space for this. I am literally just dumping this on like the volume, knowing that I have now got speed and redundancy actually in here, as well as a large volume. 1.5 terabytes is nothing to be laughed at. What happens if one of these drives fails on me? I'll show you. I'm going to literally unplug a drive right now. Straight away it tells you there's a missing disk and that the RAID is degraded. Degraded meaning that the full RAID is not available.
you'll see this disk at the end here is now out of sync. That's fine, it needs to be rebuilt. Nothing technical, no command lines, nothing fancy, I just pressed rebuild. The drive has been, within a matter of a minute, the RAID has been rebuilt and the disk is now being brought back up into sync with the rest of the disk as well. And that's how I upcycled some old redundant hard drives that I were no longer using, and using SoftRaid I've been able to create a larger volume with redundancy, which is now helping me to vlog much more efficiently. I'm not having to use network storage, which can have a bit of latency. I'm using USB-C. So for allowing me to upcycle some old hard drives that were laying around, really basically doing nothing, I've been able to create a 1.5 terabyte RAID with redundancy and a larger volume. And this is great for doing 4K video work. In the description below, I've added a link to SoftRaid. I've also got a load of actual redundant hard drives actually for myself going on Amazon for sale. I'll add the link on there as well. But the differences I hope you've seen between Disk Utility, which is free, and what SoftRaid actually offers you is a big difference for such an incredible price. As I mentioned, I have not been paid for this review. This is an evaluation of this product for the last 30 days I've been using, and I'm very impressed with it.